It's 4 o'clock in Radio Cairo. This is World of Info. We're coming from Studio 3. My name is Dr. Amr Mabrouk. Dua Muhammad is at the control. And we are the World of Info. And today we have a very special guest, and really a very distinguished and seasoned diplomat who was kind enough to come in our program and accept our invitation in this beautiful afternoon in Cairo. Her Excellency Madam Ambassador Leonara Rueda, the Ambassador of Mexico to Egypt. Thank you very much for coming. It's really a great pleasure and honor that you accepted our invitation, Madam Ambassador.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mabrouk, and thank you for having me here.
It's a great honor to have such a seasoned diplomat who served her country as ambassador in the Czech Republic, and before that to New Zealand, and then before that as an ambassador as well in Jamaica. And she was the DCM, the Deputy Chief of Mission in Hanoi, and the Consul in New Orleans in the United States, and working as well in the Foreign Service of Mexico, Foreign Service, and having a degree from the Mexico City University in International Relations, and a lot of diplomas, including, for example, a very important diploma in the Islam and West, and of course having two beautiful daughters. How could she do all this in such great perfection? This is really admirable, and this is no wonder, because she comes from Mexico, a very dear country to the Egyptians. The Egyptians have heard a lot of Mexico. They have a lot of information. Maybe they have seen some of the most famous Mexican movies, Mexican soap operas, and as well films of Mexico, and of course like Viva Zapata. And then one of the very famous Egyptian actors, and he was a lovable comedian actor. He made himself a film called Viva Zalata. And the film, by the way, is so popular in Egypt, and that's why Mexico has a very important place in the hearts of Egyptians. Really, Madam Ambassador, thank you very much. We are here to talk about Mexico and tell our listeners about the real Mexico, not the Mexico that we hear about or read in the social media, which is not that true, because definitely every country has some positive sides and negative sides. But in Mexico, it's a lot of positivity that we'll talk about, and we'll start right away with the first question. But first, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me here.
The pre-Columbian Mexico dates to about 8000 BC and is identified as one of the 6 cradles of civilizations, because everybody thinks that it was Christopher Columbus who introduced civilization to the Americas. Well, actually, this is not true, because Mexico was one of the 6 cradles of civilization and was home to many advanced Mesoamerican civilizations such as the Olmec, the Toltec, the Zapotec, the Maya, and Aztec before first contact with Europeans. How far did these civilizations affect Mexico of today, madam?
Well, let me tell you that thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure for me to address this wonderful audience that you have and to share with them precisely some things about Mexico that they probably don't know. All those original people, civilizations that you mentioned, they shape Mexico's identity and are the base of the mestizo people that we are today. Their contributions in astronomy, mathematics, architecture, agriculture, and even governance still define our daily living today and worldview. They are present in everything. They nurture the rich cultural diversity that Mexico enjoys in various areas, our traditions, our handcrafts, our gastronomy, our music. Really, they are the original towns from all the groups that you mentioned. They are around 11 million people, more or less, and they still speak their language. They dress their costumes, and they take care of the diverse environment where they live. So they are us. I cannot say they and I. They are present with us every time.
Mm-hmm. So this is one thing to say, that they are still living, and this
Yes.
culture is still living in the heart of Mexico. In 1521, the Spanish Empire conquered and colonized the territory from its politically powerful base in Mexico, part of Mexico City, which was administered as the viceroyalty of New Spain. It took the Mexicans a lot of time to struggle till independence of 1821 to materialize a constitution of 1917. I mean, this is almost 400 years from the Spanish, if you may use the expression, invasion, till the complete constitution and the acceptance of Mexico as a totally independent state. Why did all this take that long time?
Well, indeed, it has been a long and difficult journey. Because it involved not just in the independence when we had the independence in 1810, that finished till 1821, something like that. It didn't just was the expelling of the colonial power. We have to create a nation. We have to rebuild the social fabric of a very diverse, since then, group of people. We have to to make the foundations of a new socioeconomic environment, no, for everyone. So we have to face some even foreign interventions. From 1838, we have invasions, foreign invasions. Then we lost more than half of our territory.
In the end of 19th
from
century.
1846 till 1848. And then also we have domestic conflict between the federalists and the centralists, between the monarchies and the Republicans.
You had an emperor.
We have an emperor also.
Yes,
exactly.
the brother of
Maximiliano Habsburg.
Yes, I mean, this is a very interesting part of history.
Exactly.
The guy is coming from Austria. He was the brother of the emperor,
Napoleon.
and he was married to the granddaughter of Victoria, the Queen Victoria.
Yes.
And he was hanged or shot. He was shot, and then he was shipped back to Vienna, and his wife mourned him until the end of her days. I mean, this is a very strange short period. I mean, putting a guy who is totally not related to Mexico.
No, precisely what I am telling you. That's why, coming
This
back
was
to the question,
1871, right?
the
Something like
long way, because we have faced all of these problems. In the 1860s, 1862, a group of at that time Mexicans from the monarchist point of view, when they wanted to have a monarchy, they went to Europe and looked for someone. And Napoleon III, he thought, well, I have someone here that probably can go there. And they wanted to get rid of him. So they asked him to come to Mexico to reign Mexico, to rule Mexico, together with Carlota, his wife. But when he arrived to Mexico, he by lies, those were lies. Because in Mexico, we already have a president elected, Benito Juárez. And when he arrived to Mexico in 1863, he realized that we already have a president, and that that president was writing decrees and was having a vision with which, as a liberal, he agreed with. Maximiliano agreed with Juárez. And but on the other hand, we have a constitution already from 1853, 57, when we have in one of the articles define traitors to the country to be eliminated. I mean, traitors of the war. So Maximiliano was declared a traitor to invader, how to say, a person that invades a country, and they decided to eliminate Maximiliano because by constitution, and it was a pity because Maximiliano was a liberal, just like Juarez, and when Juarez was asked to forgive Maximiliano, because he actually agreed in the way of in the philosophy, of the plain liberal. He said, "I kill the man. I don't kill the man. I kill the idea."
Yes.
So it happens like that, and after that, Juarez still continue being the president of Mexico when Maximiliano was killed, and Carlota came back
and sent back to Vienna, right?
See, but let me tell you this: that at the time it was also the secession war in the States. So I don't know if you have heard, and our friends have heard about the Cinco de Mayo, the May the 5th. And some people believe there is our Independence Day. It's not our Independence Day. It's a battle that we won against the French with Maximiliano. We lost the war, but we won one battle, and it was enough for Napoleon to bring the soldiers that he was taking to the U.S. when they were having the secession war to fight with the southern people that was fighting to the north, the Slavists, with the Slavists fighting with the north. So he sent those troops to Mexico because we won that battle. That was the famous French army, very elegant, all were very disciplined, and our people, our soldiers, were very humble, very humble.
And you had
but we won.
There was an Egyptian battalion at that time as well.
Exactly. So that's why there is the theory, of course, the idea that because of that there were less French that fought with the people of the south of the U.S. So that's why they lost the war.
This is really very strange part of history.
And then we have a revolution in 1910 because we have a dictator, Porfirio Diaz, that lasts for 30 years, more than 30 years. So we have a revolution against this dictator, and we started from 1910 when we won the revolution in when the revolution finished in 1921, again, we started rebuilding a new country. And then we have the Constitution of 1917 established. And from now on, we continue building this country.
Yes, but of course there was what they called sometimes the perfect dictatorship that ruled for much of the 20th century until the opposition victories led Mexico to democratic transition in the 1990s. That was another difficult road. I mean, the democracy, it took them 70 years to pass into the route of democracy.
Well, let me tell you that, it's difficult. It's difficult to create a democracy, to create the foundations of a democratic country after a revolution. It takes time. It takes time to, again, rebuild that social fabric. Being a big country, Mexico has the double of Egypt territory. It's the double.
And the population is now how much?
Today is 130 million people. And as you have 27 governorates, we have 32 states. And we are a very diversified, socially and economically speaking, population. So, and the times, I mean, you are inserted in a world where you have to go, align, you have to develop your country, trying to be aligned with the other countries. And in this sense, we have had, for instance, two very important periods of development. From the 40s, let's say, to the 70s, that was prioritize the stability and industrialization of the country. And from, let's say, the 70s till or 80s, 70s to the 90s, when it was the period of the substitution of imports, trying to produce in the country all the products that we were importing from far. The time of the protectionism and all that, no? And very strong state intervention in the economy. After the 80s, we start changing that. We start opening the economy, and at the same time, we have an important development in the social sector. The civil society started to have a very important role in the development of the policies of the country. So we have a political reform in 1977 that allow to have more political parties and to have the presence of a rich conjunction of ideas, ideals also, and political parties. Till recently, that we have had now opposition political parties in power at that time. And now, fortunately, we have a very firm, strong democratic system with a president, with a woman president.
The lady, yes, of course.
Yes. So it took a long time, but
what's important is that you kept going on the right track, which is very important. Then we talk about the rich culture. I mean, the rich culture and history makes Mexico ranking first in the Americas and seventh in the world for a number of UNESCO World Heritages. What is Mexico doing to keep this heritage for the next generation?
Well, you know that Mexico has 35 World Heritage Sites, the highest in the Americas, by the way, and several elements in the list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. To protect them, we invest in conservation, involving local communities, working together with UNESCO and international experts. Also, we promote initiatives on education programs, archaeological research, sustainable tourism, to ensure that future generations can enjoy and learn from this invaluable heritage. On the other hand, our same indigenous people, the ones I talk about to you, they are the first to ensure that the future generations care for and maintain the love for the traditions, for the intangible value of the traditions, from music to gastronomy, from textiles to the manufacture of this indigenous footwear. Actually, I don't know if you have heard about the case of very recently, Adidas, that a very famous brand, that they took some idea from the shoes, but a very specific group in Mexico, indigenous group of Mexico, they are doing. No, so immediately we took hands in action, and they have to ask for
Royalties.
some apologies and to pay a fine.
Very good, very good. This is
So
very important.
It's just the sample of what we do.
Mexico receives a huge number of tourists every year. For example, in 2018, it was the sixth most visited country in the world with 39 million international arrivals. How was that possible? I know Mexico is beautiful, but I mean, definitely the government has to be encouraging such type of tourism. Otherwise,
Exactly.
people would not have come.
Well, let me tell you first that we have components like we have extraordinary diversity, world-class beaches, ancient ruins, colonial sites, gastronomy, and vibrant traditions. But all of this is combined with strong infrastructure, connectivity, and hospitality. And for us, I think that these factors have made Mexico one of the top destinations, top global destinations. These are very important, all elements together. Every day we are trying to promote the image of Mexico and to try to the people, the world, to look for the good things that we have. No, there are many, as I mentioned, and to try to have these policies that takes care of the tourism as they were our own people.
Of course. So I think it's mainly in the people. So you
Yes.
give special education to the students at schools, how to take care of tourists. Is there syllabuses like that dealing with this?
Yes, and we have a lot of very important tourism schools. Tourism schools, they are very important, and they are specialized. For instance, all the guys, no,
The tourist guides and the tour
and all
leaders.
that, they come from schools of tourism as a whole. So they have to learn exactly from our history, of course, traditions, and of course they also take classes about the world, about the different countries, because to be good guide, they have to know exactly what, for instance, is not the same for, let's say, Japanese that for a person from the Americas, or if they come from Latin America, for instance, no, where we have special, similarities than to ones from Europe,
Of course. This is really very interesting. Nowadays, Mexico is classified as an upper middle income country by the World Bank and a newly industrialized country by several analysts. How was that possible? I mean, this is a great step forward than Mexico in the 60s and the 70s, right?
Exactly. We started from them. We thought that industrialization was very important if we would like to create that foundations to go forward. In this sense, Mexico has achieved this status thanks to its diversified economy. That's very important for us. Taking into account our strategic geographic location and the integration to global markets. We have more than 14 free trade agreements, and with several countries, and of course a young and dynamic workforce. We have in this diversification of industry, we have from the automotive and aerospace industry to agro industry and technology. Mexico, for instance, is a major exporter and attractive investment destination at the same time.
And of course, its role in medical tourism as well. We were discussing that before going on air, because a lot of tourists, especially, for example, the United States, come for medical services which are not insured, like the dentistry or plastic surgery. They come over for having perfect jobs done to them, and at the same time reasonably priced, right?
Yes.
This is one of the very important models of progress, right? Helping the local economy, of course,
Exactly.
in border cities, right?
Exactly.
More or less it's in border cities, or what?
Well, border, because they come, it's easier for them to travel to the border.
By car,
But if you go inside the country, also we have a very good medical service in general, and they come from many countries.
That's why I think the education is one of the very important pillars that helped in building the new Mexico of today. For example, what you have just stressed about the schools, touristic schools, of how students are being welcomed to go and to take a career in tourism, and of course the medical careers and medical universities are also helping that. So how far is the education is compulsory for 12 years? Is it for free in the school, or till what age is it compulsory?
Well, Mexico, first of all, is a right that is in our constitution. That education has to be is a right for every children to go to the school, and is in the constitution. And we have both public and private schools since they are very little. Well, apart from the nurseries, we have for the parents that work and they can leave the children, babies, in the nurseries. From there to the kindergarten, and then primary school, 6 years of primary school, then 3 years secondary school, and then 3 years of high, how you call it? Well, bachelor's, and the career, there are 4-5 years, depending the career. So, and you can have the option, private school or public school. By constitution also, there are the schools, the free school, the official school is for everyone. No? But of course, there are people that can pay a private school, a private university, they go there. My university, for instance, the university I went was for free.
Really? That's very interesting. And the product is beautiful.
Thank you very much.
I mean, in a professional point of view, of course.
Probably you have heard precisely we have an excellent medical school in the National University of Mexico.
Yes. So we can go on talking forever about Mexico and the progress that Mexico has done from the 70s onwards with Her Excellency Ambassador Leonara Rueda, the Ambassador of Mexico to Egypt. But we'll take a break and we'll come back with the main topic of today, which is the very special Egyptian-Mexican relations. Stay tuned to us in Radio Cairo. My name is Dr. Amr Mabrouk. Dua Muhammad is still under control, and we'll come right after the break. So, you're still listening to the World of Info from Radio Cairo, and with us today is Her Excellency, the distinguished Ambassador Leonara Rueda, Madam Ambassador, the Ambassador of Mexico to Egypt, and we're talking about Egyptian-Mexican relations because this year we are celebrating 67 years of non-interrupted relations between Egypt and Mexico. We started to have this strong relation since 1958. And this was an important year for Egypt because this was the year of the union between Egypt and Syria, and was the year 2 years after or 3 years after the first non-aligned movement meeting in Bandung between President Tito, President Nasser, and Prime Minister Nehru. And you'll tell us about your personal story because maybe 30 or 40 years later you have written a paper and a thesis about the non-aligned movement, and you started to become interested in in Egypt as a whole. Tell us about that.
Well, when I finish the academic study, I have to make a thesis, no? And at that time, it was very interesting because there were many interesting meetings in which Mexico was taking care there as an observer of the non-aligned movement. And I was already working in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I remember at that time my boss was the Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs, and I remember I asked him, Ambassador, why Mexico is not a member of the non-aligned movement? And he told me, because Mexico is not so non-aligned that we are not members of the non-aligned movement. So I got interested, to study that, and of course I have to follow all the conferences of the non-aligned movement, and one of the, of course, most important protagonists were President Nasser.
Yes.
So that's why
you have in your office from your predecessors a lot of pictures
Yes.
between Nasser and your leaders and your ambassadors, and also between Sadat and also the presidents and ambassadors of Mexico. Tell us about that. I mean, this is a beautiful room to see. I mean, a lot of trophies in it, right?
Yes. Well, from before in the office, we have one picture of the president that I talk about at the beginning, the dictator. Mm-hmm. Porfirio Diaz. He came to Egypt in 19 at the end probably of the 19th century or the beginning of the 20th century. There's a picture of him on a camel.
Yes, and it's a very classical tourist picture, right?
Yes, but he was the Porfirio Diaz, yes. No? This person.
Well, there are a lot of pictures. I mean, there's a picture of Theodore Roosevelt as well, here in the 1910 or 1912 when he visited Egypt, and there's also a picture of Churchill in 1921 on a camel as well.
Okay. So well, we are part of the history like that. And then, of course, the relation with Mexico has been always very close in the sense that we have had a history. We are all civilizations, and as all civilizations we have had and identified many similarities in our involvement, in our development. No, through you were also invaded by many countries, and also to build the country. You have had that experience that we have had also. So there has been always a very good relation in the bilateral area as well as in the multilateral area. And I was telling you about the pictures here, for instance, with President Sadat and with President Echeverria, Salinas also, and with President Fox. Probably the latest, also together with visits.
We share between us the same policy as regards, for example, the protection of environment.
Exactly.
Right, and the COP 21 when they came to Egypt. Of course, this was part of. We agreed on a lot of points, right? We
agree in a lot of points. Actually, in the desire for the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons. I really like that theme, and I am always following this position of Egypt, and a way in which we can improve the knowledge between us, because as you know, Mexico was the leader in the promotion of the Tratado de Tlatelolco treating that implies the non-proliferation of all Latin American and Caribbean countries. So we can have the room to talk about those issues. Also, as you say, because of the COPs, we also held a COP in Cancun, the COP 16. And we have a very good relation with the counterparts, Mexican and Egyptians. When the COPs, we also have and discuss policies that goes in the same way. No, in this, for instance, in the multilateral area, we, for instance, in the Organization of Maritime, International Maritime Organization, we have very close relations there. We have close points of view in UNESCO, for instance, also in different areas. We have very, very close international positions.
How about the economic cooperation between both countries? What Mexico exports to Egypt and what Egypt exports to Mexico?
Well, let me tell you first that our trade is very modest. I have to say, but we are working on that. It doesn't go beyond, it's $163 million up to now. But we are having now negotiations in several agricultural, in the agricultural field sector, and some food products also, including fish, by the way, tilapia,
yes,
and other products. And in the area in which our economic relation, commercial relation is important, is in the area of the investment. Mexico leads the investment sector of having the major investors in Egypt. We are the main investor in Egypt.
In what specialty?
We have, for instance, companies like Cemex. Cemex, that
For
is
cement?
cement. We have the area in the Rompompem, that is, and other companies that relates with the treatment, water treatment, and pipelines. In the entertaining area, we have, for instance, a business part with Kidzania, that is entertainment for children business, and as far as I remember. And on the other side, Egypt is also working in Mexico in the investment area. We have there Pico Cheiron, and also who's working there is Sweetie Electrometer. And they are expanding the business in Mexico also.
So definitely this is a lot of cooperation, and I think with the next time opening very soon the GEM, that's the Great Egyptian Museum, or the Grand Egyptian Museum. You've been there, right?
Of course. It's one of my favorite museums.
So you're planning, some of the dignitaries from Mexico are coming on this?
We are waiting, exactly. We are waiting for the information about who's coming. It's on the desk of the president to designate who will come. And I hope that will be the opportunity to have a high delegation here.
I think there is a lot of understanding and friendship between both our presidents as regards not just the things that we have just talked about, whether this is in environment or in non-proliferation treaties, but also I think the chemistry between them is going on fine. There have been always a contact, whether they met before the United Nations or conferences or elsewhere during the CUP. There is a strong bond with the same background. He said that the civilization, both our civilization brings us together more than divide us, right?
Exactly. We are we are very close in that sense, and I hope that the next meeting of the General Assembly of United Nations, our dignitaries of high authorities to get together. I hope so, and to underline the high level of political dialogue that we have in different areas. We have since 1997 the mechanism of political consultations through which we identify the areas in which we have to work in practical terms, besides the political one, the economic one, and that through which we agree to work together towards many different areas of the relation.
Of course, Mexico, although far away from Egypt, I think, but all the Mexicans have learned about Egypt in their school years. How far is the Mexican tourists coming to Egypt?
Let me tell you something. Egypt is a must for all Mexicans.
Really?
If we have the bucket list of tourism, Egypt is at the top of the list. In Mexico, since we are in primary school, if you see the textbooks, because we have a textbook for all Mexicans, Egypt is there. And you start with Egypt. So everyone, children, if you ask to whatever children, they know about Egypt. And to tell you one figure is that last year, the average of Mexicans coming to Egypt to visit Egypt were 30,000 Mexicans. Egyptians going to Mexico, 4,000. And many of those Egyptians that have gone to Mexico are Egyptians that live in the U.S. So we need to improve
of course, we need to
Egyptians to go to Mexico.
And of course, Mexicans to come to Egypt. I think with the improvement of the infrastructure of the roads all over Egypt, this has helped the Mexicans or any tourist, when they come to Egypt, they can have best of both worlds. So they can go to Cairo, they can go to Luxor, and they can go to the Red Sea, and all through very well-paved roads that will take them in a shorter period of travel and even more economic, right?
Exactly like that. And
you've done these tours, most probably, right?
Yes, of course. I cannot escape. I love Egypt. I like it. All the places that you have. I feel the history in my veins.
Yes.
For Egypt, and Mexicans, when I talk about this, and they say, why Mexicans are coming to Egypt? So many Mexicans are coming to Egypt, to the beaches, and say no,
they don't.
because
we have a lot of beaches, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
But for the history, for the richness of the culture that you also have, for the pyramids, for the museums, from what it is for the world, all that all that way from Luxor to Aswan, no? And all you have to give to the world in terms of beauties and landscape. It's incredible. So that's why they come here. And also we have a lot of things to show to the Egyptians. So I hope that many Egyptians could go to Mexico and to see by themselves how we have done with all this that we have talked about, the archaeological sites, also temples, also the difference, to see the difference.
Our pyramids, of course.
We have pyramids.
Of course, I know that. Yes,
exactly. So I think they will love it too.
Of course. So stay tuned with us to Radio Cairo. After the break, we'll come to Her Excellency again, Ambassador Leonara Rueda, the ambassador of Mexico to Egypt, because we are going to talk after that break about her aspirations of what she wants to do in her tenure about Egyptian-Mexican relations. So stay tuned with us to Radio Cairo. So still listening to the Radio Cairo, and we're coming, unfortunately, to the last part of the program. We need you to come back again to talk more, Her Excellency Ambassador Leonara Rueda, the ambassador of Mexico to Egypt. We'll talk about a dear thing to Egyptians, which is, of course, the World Cup. The World Cup next year, the 26th, is going to be in 3 states. It's going to be in the United States, in Mexico, and in Canada.
Yes.
You'll have some of the games over there. And Egypt is praying, all the Egyptians are praying to go there, their national Egyptian teams to go there and play matches with all the best of luck, right? So tell us about football in Mexico. It's very famous, right? It's one of the best sports that are being watched. It's not like the American football. I mean, what's the best watched game in Mexico? Is it football? Or
it's the football.
It's
yes,
football,
the football, as the Americans say, soccer.
Yes.
Football is the most important sport.
It's the most popular, right?
The most popular, yes. We have others. Actually, even the Formula One with Checo Perez, that we have world champion. Other baseball also is important, but the most popular one is football.
So there is a lot of competition between the three American teams: the Canadian, which are not that strong, the Americans, which are rising power in football, and the Mexicans, who have really achieved higher places. They would go even to the quarterfinals sometimes, right, in Mexico. So
yes. We can do better.
Inshallah, yes. Let's wish you all the possible luck. You had it before in Mexico. There was a World Cup maybe 20 or 30 years ago.
Yes. We have had 2 times the World Cup.
Yes.
2 times. And we are very excited to have the part of the next cup, football cup in Mexico. And I hope also that the Egyptians will be there.
Yes.
Will be there, and that if not Mexico, well, Egypt to win.
That's a very good wish from you, Madam Ambassador. So before we leave, we like to talk about, always we ask our dear guests, the ambassadors, about their aspirations. I know that your tenure is unfortunately coming for an end within the year or 2 years, but we want you to stay more. This is one of our wishes. And the second important, what are your wishes in the professional point of view of what you want to do within this year on the professional level as regards helping the investment in Mexico, or the Egyptian investment in Mexico, or Mexican investment in Egypt? Where do you see that in 1 year?
Well, you know that I would like to. We took some steps, and I would like it to be finished, or at least advanced, to create a Mexico-Egypt Chamber of Commerce, or Mexico and Egypt Business Council, and to be leading by one Egyptian, and in Mexico to have a counterpart in Mexico, leading by one Mexican. And I wish for them to get together and to identify all those opportunities in trade and investment between our countries, because I think there is a lot of room still to be explored in the field of the investment and in the field of the trade, in agriculture, in other products. So I think that we have to get together, identify those sectors, and work together towards to get joint ventures, to get information about the best practices in different sectors of the industry. And I think that will solidify more over the relation.
Really, that's a very good, important step. I think if it is fulfilled, that will be a real accomplishment, because this Chamber of Commerce definitely help to solve the problems and convey a real strong image of the strengths of the economic relation that can be held and increased in between our countries.
Yes, I think, for instance, I took a trip to some pharmaceuticals here in Egypt, in a trip that was organized by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Egyptian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I thought, well, we can work in that field, because I think that is the moment in which we have to diversify more our trade. In the case of Mexico, it is very concentrated with the U.S. Our 70% of our trade, if not more, is going to the U.S. So we have to diversify. For instance, in this case, in the pharmaceutical area, And I think that it would be interesting to work by sectors, no? To see, for instance, in the case of Mexico, we have to sometimes to look for some medicines that probably do have, are on the contrary, or work, no?
Of course.
So when I say to identify opportunities, then one opportunity could be in the pharmaceutical area.
Well, Madam Ambassador, we can go on forever talking about how vivid the relation between Egypt and Mexico is going on, and what are the prospects of further cooperation. But we really thank you for your love to Egypt and your admiration about this special relation between Egypt and Mexico. We hope that you're going to be successful in your tenure here to have more cooperation in all fields. And we want you to promise that you'll come back again to our program to honor us with your visit and your fruitful thought.
Thank you very much, Amr. I'm always available for what is needed here, for you and for your audience.
Thank you very much, Her Excellency Ambassador Leonara Rueda, the Ambassador of Mexico and the Distinguished Ambassador of Mexico, was our dear guest today. And we were Dr. Amr Mabrouk, and Dua Muhammad was at the control. This is the World of Info. We promise that we'll come back again the same time, same station next week, but always stay tuned to Radio Cairo FM 95.4. See you soon and have a great weekend.